Hello everyone, today I am here with a new video on the ethnic conflict of Sri Lanka, which is one of the major themes in the novel Funny Boy published by Shyam Silvadurai in 2011. In this video, we will learn about LTTE, what are the circumstances that led to this civil war, what was India's role in this civil war, and how this war led to the assassination of our Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. So the Sri Lankan civil war lasted from 1983 to 2009. It was mainly a clash between the Sinhalese-dominated Sri Lankan government and the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, that is LTTE. LTTE was formed in 1976 in the northern and eastern states of Sri Lanka with the intention of acquiring an independent Tamil state titled the Tamil Eelam. Sri Lanka, formerly known as Ceylon, is an island country which lies in the Indian Ocean. There are two major ethnic groups in Sri Lanka, that is the Tamils and the Sinhalese. Before the arrival of British colonial rule in Sri Lanka, the northern and eastern part of Sri Lanka was under the control of Tamil kings. Thus, the northern and eastern part of Sri Lanka consists of Tamil majority, while the central and southern part of Sri Lanka consists of Sinhalese majority. These two ethnic groups speak different languages and follow different religions. Tamils follow Hinduism and speak Tamil language, while the Sinhalese follow Buddhism and speak Sinhala. Sri Lanka has around 70 to 75% Sinhalese and around 15% Sri Lankan Tamil population. With the entry of Christian missionaries during British rule, many educational institutions were set up in northern Sri Lanka where the Tamils were in majority. Thus, Tamils were more educated and developed as compared to Sinhalese. When the British started administrative work in Sri Lanka, Tamils got more representation in civil services and other government jobs because of their education and their command over English language. All the higher positions in the government jobs were occupied by the Tamils. But the main problem arose when Sri Lanka got freedom from British rule in 1948 and parliamentary democracy was established there. Parliamentary democracy is characterized by a government responsible to the majority in parliament. Sinhalese were in majority and so they formed the government. Sinhalese government passed various laws and policies in favor of the Sinhalese, which gave Sinhalese an opportunity to acquire education and get government jobs. In 1956, the government declared Sinhala as the official language of Sri Lanka, which resulted in job losses for Tamils. Moreover, Tamil films and magazines were banned and students were restricted from taking admission in colleges. With such discrimination, Tamil youth started to join insurgency and political activism. Various armed groups were formed to fight against these discriminatory policies, and among these armed groups, one of the major armed groups was LTTE, that is Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, which was formed in 1976. Now let's learn about LTTE. LTTE was led by Villu Pillai Prabhakaran. LTTE believed in complete cessation of Tamilians from Sri Lanka. It was a disciplined and organized armed group. LTTE was divided into two categories. First is military wing and the second is political wing. Military wing was also divided into three subgroups. First, naval wing known as Sea Tiger. Second, air wing known as Air Tiger. And third, suicide bombing unit known as Black Tigers. They adopted guerrilla technique and suicide bombing, and at that time, the LTTE emerged as the most dominant militant group in Sri Lanka and the most strongest guerrilla force of the world. Gradually, they began to overpower Tamil political parties in the northern region such as Jaffna. In July 1983, LTTE fought against anti-Tamil activities and 13 Sri Lankan armies were killed, leading to the Black July pogrom. Now, let's see how India intervened in Sri Lankan civil war. Indian Tamils and Sri Lankan Tamils had a close ancestral relations. In India, the political parties of Tamil Nadu urged the government to help the LTTE. The government felt that the Sri Lankan civil war would threaten India's unity as well as the territorial integrity of India. After the Black July incident, India decided to support the insurgent groups, that is the LTTE. Indian intelligence agency RAW started helping LTTE by supplying weapons and military training. On the other hand, seeing the growing popularity of LTTE, in 1987, the Sri Lankan army started Operation Liberation to eliminate LTTE from Jaffna. This led to the death of many Tamilians. After negotiations, the Indian and Sri Lankan government entered into the Indo-Sri Lankan Accord on July 29, 1987, and it was decided that Sri Lankan government will give autonomy to Tamil-dominated regions and withdrew its army from northern region. On the other hand, Sri Lankan President Jayawardene asked the Indian government not to support the Tamil insurgents. After that, the Indian government sent Indian peacekeeping force, which is part of the Indian army, to Sri Lanka to restore peace in Sri Lanka. However, this move proved to be a terrible disaster for India. Instead of negotiating a settlement between both parties, the Indian troops ended up fighting the LTTE. Around 1,200 to 1,500 Indian soldiers were killed in this mission. The IPKF, that is, the Indian Peacekeeping Force, began withdrawing from Sri Lanka in 1989 following the election of the VP Singh government in India. But Prabhakaran had made up his mind to kill Rajiv Gandhi, and so he was assassinated at a rally at Sri Perumbudur on 21 May 1991. While he was campaigning for re-election. From 2002 to 2007, multiple ceasefire agreements were violated, which was signed between the Sri Lankan government and the insurgents. Finally, on 19 May 2009, Prabhakaran was killed by the government forces, and thus LTTE was disbanded, ended the power of the LTTE. With the death of Prabhakaran, the chapter of LTTE was closed. Thank you.